Easily one of the biggest stories of the year that The Age broke was the second residence allowance scandal. In that the speaker, Tomo Languila, he was caught charging the taxpayer for a second residence on the Bellarine Peninsula. When that was exposed, he eventually committed to paying back the money. We then found out that his deputy, Don Nardella, had done something similar, supposedly living in a caravan park in Ocean Grove. He eventually committed to repaying the money, but most importantly, The Age's coverage led to an overhaul of MPs' entitlements. So that's real change, including establishing a remuneration tribunal to determine how much MPs get paid and what their allowances should be.
So earlier this year, The Age broke the story of opposition leader Matthew Guy's lobster with an alleged mobster. That was with a man called Tony Madaffri. The story really turned Victorian politics on its head for that time. It raised serious questions about Mr Guy's judgment in remaining at that dinner once he realised that Mr Madaffri was in the small number of people around the table. And it also blunted his attacks on Labor and on Daniel Andrews' credentials on law and order.
In an education-obsessed town, finding the perfect school is big business. We've covered controversial changes to school zones which have cut families out of schools and triggered a fierce backlash in communities. We recently reported on the case of the new South Melbourne Primary School, which has not even opened its doors yet, but is already sending out rejection letters because there is so much demand.
Premier Daniel Andrews has promised 2 new toll roads for Melbourne, the Westgate Tunnel and the North East Link. Together they amount to about $23 billion worth of spending. We haven't seen this much money spent on roads in generations. It's all a direct response to the population boom. That population boom is just placing so much stress on Melbourne as it grows outwards and up. And with next year's election, there's going to be a hell of a lot more debate to come in this.
It was another big year of crime in Victoria in 2017. George Pell was charged, as was the husband of Karen Rostevsky. In June, a 29-year-old inspired by Islamic State shot dead a receptionist and took a sex worker hostage in what is now known as the Brighton Siege. The magnifying glass also turned on police this year when 2 tactical officers shot a couple in Inflation nightclub in Melbourne CBD. But one of the most important stories of the year happened at the very start. On January 20, dozens of pedestrians were mowed down when a car entered Bourke Street, killing 6 people and injuring several others. The Bourke Street tragedy changed the city in ways we're still trying to grasp. Bourke Street also showed the strength and the humanity of the city. For every person that was injured or killed, there were dozens of others, including emergency service workers and civilians who stepped in to help.